object-oriented programming language, and every object is an identifiable entity with certain characteristics and behavior. And every object's attributes or characteristics is implemented as variables in a Java program, whereas object's behavior will be implemented as methods in a Java program. So let us see one example. Here I have taken person as an object. So normally person will have hair, height and weight. These are the general attributes or characteristics of this object. So when it comes to our program, we will implement these attributes as variables in the program. So we know every variable will have a data type and it will have some value. So here I have taken three variables which are hair, height and weight. These three variables have three different data types. You might have noticed here hair contains the data type string and the value assigned is black, whereas height and weight both contains numerical value. Here it is a whole number, so here I have given the data type int, whereas weight is a floating point value, that is why the data type is float. So these three characteristics or attributes I have given as variables in a Java program, whereas you might have noticed that the behavior of the person, that person can eat, person can walk, person can sleep, all these behaviors we have implemented as methods in a Java program. So let us see what is a method, its a syntax and its a definition. So let us see the syntax of method definition. Here you can see first part contains access specifier, then comes access modifier, and here you can see return type, method name, argument list and body of the method. So these constitute the method definition. So here you might have noticed that there are total 6 parts. Even though there are total 6 parts, only 4 parts are compulsory. Rest 2 parts are optional, which means the first 2 parts, access specifier and access modifier, both are optional. If you want, you can include, or else you can omit also. But the compulsory parts are return type, method name and argument list. So normally it will contain the body of the method. Here I have given 2 examples. You might have noticed that in the first example, I have included public and static keyword, whereas in the second example, it is missing. I told you earlier that this access specifier and access modifier both are optional, but rest of the parts are mandatory. So here in the first example, return type of the method stars is void. So void means that this function will not return any value. That is why we have included the return type void. And you can see that here the parenthesis is empty. That means the parameter list is empty. Now see the method of the now see the body of the method. Here I have included only one println statement. So this function will not return any value. Instead, it will print 2 stars. Now see the difference between these two. So here I have given, in the second example, I have given the return type int, whereas in the first example I have given void, and in the second example I have given one parameter, whereas in the previous example I have not given any parameter. So the difference is clear. Now come back to our second example. I told you here I have given the return type int, which means that this method xValue will return an integer value. That is why the data type given is int. Now here I have given an integer argument a. Let us assume that the value of a is 5. Now see the execution of this ternary operator. You know ternary operator will take 3 operands. In the first part, it will check the condition, and if this condition is true, it will return the first part as the output, and if it is false, it will return the second part as the output. So let us see this example. Value of A is 5. So you will check whether 5 less than 0. Condition is false. So you will get the value of A in the variable result, which means value of A is 5. So the value 5 will get assigned to the variable res, and that value 5 will be returned by this method. Let us see another example. Here I have given a method with the name max with 2 parameters which are of integer data type. And here you can see we are checking whether value of A, which is 10, is greater than B or not. If the condition is true, then the value of A will be returned to the variable ans, whereas if the condition is false, value of B will be assigned to the variable ans. So let us see the working. Value of A is 10 and value of B is 5. So compiler will check whether value 10 is greater than 5 or not. Obviously condition is true, and the value of A, which is 10, will be assigned to the variable ans. So that value 10 will be returned by this method. So in the first example, we have not included any parameter. In the second example, we have included one parameter, and in the third example, we have included 2 parameters. And also, you can give different number and type of arguments. And here, the return type, method name and arguments. This part we can call as method prototype. Method prototype. And the argument list alone we can call as method signature. Method signature. So what is method prototype? The first line of a method definition which contains a return type, method or function name and the parameter list contributes method prototype, whereas method signature means the parameter list. And you might have seen that the variable A and B is part of method definition. So we can call this variable A and B as formal parameters. Formal parameters. So here in this example, you have included 3 variables which are ans, variable A and variable B. But only variable A and B are part of method definition, or you can say part of method prototype. So these 2 variables are known as formal parameters. So in this section we have studied objects, what are its characteristics, what are its behavior, how it will be implemented in a Java program. Also we have discussed methods, its syntax of method definition, and we discussed what is formal parameter. Hope today's session was helpful for you. Meet you soon with another video. Thank you.